What's going on, y'all? BBQ Dropout here yet again. If you want the written version, head on over to bbqdropout.com. So if you're wondering how long you should be smoking your brisket for at about 225 degrees Fahrenheit, you should know that there's really always two main things to consider when smoking or cooking any kind of brisket. The first of which is the ambient temperature, so in this case 225 degrees Fahrenheit. The second thing is how much the brisket actually weighs. And then once you kind of figure that out, you can kind of determine whether or not you're smoking or cooking your brisket low and slow or hot and fast. So low and slow cook is anywhere from 225 degrees Fahrenheit to 250, give or take. And hot and fast is anything above 300 or 275 to 300 degrees. But for this case, let's say you have a smoker, you're cooking a brisket. Let's say you have a 10-pound brisket or whatever, smoking it or cooking it at about 225. Well, you want to use the guesstimation of about 1 pound per hour of cook time, 1 pound per 1 hour of cook time. And so when you take that into account, now you're able to actually guesstimate the cooking length of your brisket cook. So for a 10-pound pack of brisket, smoked at about 225 low and slow, it's going to take about 10 plus hours to cook all the way through. And once you kind of understand that, then you can kind of add in the different parts of the preparation, budget another hour, preparing the smoker, seasoning the brisket itself, and then you also want to, of course, let the brisket rest. And that's honestly one of the most crucial things in cooking any kind of brisket, no matter how hot and fast or how long and slow you cook it. So that 10-hour cook, 1 pound per hour, actually is about, if you're being realistic and honest with yourself, it's probably about another hour for the preparation and seasoning of the brisket, and then another 3+ hours just to rest the thing. So total, if you're cooking low and slow, you have about a 10-hour cook, 11 hours plus 3 hours. So that's 11 plus 3 is 14. So if you're cooking low and slow, that's probably on the bottom end of when I would personally recommend smoking any kind of brisket, honestly. So that 10-pound piece of brisket, and that's a 10-pound piece of brisket. I mean, imagine if you have a 20-pound piece of brisket. You probably want to crank the temperature up. That 10-pound piece of brisket, 10-hour cook you would have otherwise thought is now a 14 or more hour cook, all else being equal. And so let's say you have a 20-pound piece of brisket. Well, that thing's going to be going through the pipeline of preparing it, smoking it, and then resting it 24 hours in advance of whenever you plan to serve it. And so that's honestly, if you're looking for my advice or in my opinion, from my experience, definitely try and cook your briskets hotter, a little bit hotter in my opinion, maybe 250, preferably 275 or above for the hot and fast style of cooks. But because it's going to cut your cooking time down in half, basically, and the results are equal, if not better, in my opinion, than a low and slow cook. But anyways, to kind of recap, 1 pound per hour cook time for any brisket smoked at about 225 degrees Fahrenheit. So anyways, hope that was helpful, guys. We'll catch you on the next one.